Hello. Sorry for those of you who like the music. Eventually it has to end. Sorry the ping went out a few minutes later than I planned to. Slight technical difficulties. It's all good. I already ate. I ate an hour ago. We're good. The technical difficulty was that for some reason my streaming software decided it was going to take its sweet time updating and starting. So, we are now live on YouTube for anyone who's tuning in there. As always, these meetings are streamed directly to YouTube. If you miss something or do not, or can't stay for the whole time, you can always check out the VOD from the meeting as well as the meeting notes, which will be posted ideally later today, if not tomorrow. We have a bit of a chunk to go over, not nearly as large of a chunk as we've had previous meetings, but we do have some stuff to go over and a number of pre-submitted questions. As I'm going through those, we will likely also open the meeting questions shortly before I'm done with those. And mostly, I kind of want to wait just because your question may get answered before I'm done, because there's several questions. Also, I don't know why you guys are talking about Super Mario, but Mario's awesome, so. Fun fact, this past July, I may have cosplayed as Princess Peach. So, thank you guys for coming to the meeting, and I'm gonna get started in just a second. Ray gets blamed for too much stuff that's not even his fault. That would be my father. He was using. Yeah. Anyway. So. I'm just making sure that the video is actually running, that you guys can see. So, fun fact before we start, the image on screen is one of, it is a spoiler image of an area that you guys will eventually have access to. It's on the new map. And it's pretty, and I love it. I suppose it might be fitting if I throw it into photo album so you all can see it. And then we'll get started with the updates. You know, if it wants to load anytime this year. So I'm throwing that in there. You guys can see it. It's not a secret meeting place. It's not a secret. I could have been hiding. I'm not actually on. Part of the process of development requires sometimes multiple restarts, and I did not want to deal with that while streaming. I put it in photo album. It will load in a minute. It's like half done. It's slower when I'm streaming, so that'll load eventually. But anyway, let's get started. So our 1.20 update, as most of you should know, is in progress. The server has been down while we've been working on it. It's a bit massive of an update, and it's taken longer than we had initially planned, but unfortunately sometimes development process-wise that tends to happen. We greatly thank all of you for your patience while this has been going on, and also for helping explain to lots of people who've been coming back or haven't heard or didn't notice what's been going on. That's also been very useful. And I would also like to remind anybody who's tuning in or hasn't heard everything that for past discussions and details of a lot of the changes that we've announced were being made, you can also check out previous community meeting notes and the VODs. All the VODs from the streams pretty much definitely like from like December onward should be up on our YouTube channel, as well as the community meeting notes. The folder generally we link every time we post the notes, and you can read all the past community meeting notes there. The August 13th meeting in particular had a lot of information. But pretty much if you want to be up to date with everything before this meeting, I would definitely check out those resources. The long and short explanation is 1.19 breaks a lot of the plugins. We had to update for that and a number of other very important reasons, and it was absolutely necessary for the survival of Vox. We have no choice in a lot of what we've had to do. So, the server, as several of you have noticed, Amy made a post earlier that the server will be back up sometime tomorrow, September 25th. Well, EST. Sometime in when it's the 25th in EST. I realize that a lot of people are in different time zones, so we don't have an exact time, so I can't do the Discord time zone magic to show you what time it would be for you, but it will likely be sometime tomorrow when it is the 25th for America. Once the server is back up, the map move begins. There will be details in the announcement that will be put out when the server is back up. There will actually be a lot of details in that announcement, some of which I will go over here, some of which I may not. So I realize it is not everyone's favorite thing, but the long announcement that will get posted when the server is back up, absolutely read all of it, please. If you ask questions that are answered in that announcement, we will simply refer you back to the announcement, so you may as well read it. Okay, so There will be details on the commands that you'll need to know to move between maps and all of that. I really, really, really hope that everybody remembered to write down their coordinates, as I'd been saying for several times before we took the server down. So I really hope you wrote down your coordinates, because you're gonna need them. Wrote them down, took a screenshot, saved them however you could save them. You will definitely need your coordinates. Okay. Also, as we've discussed before, there is no technical specific end date set yet. But please do not wait to move your things once the map is open. We cannot at this time guarantee how long you may have to move, so the quicker you move, the better. It is very, very likely that the time to move will be less than a month. Ideally, we will have it up as long as we can, but we cannot keep it up indefinitely. I would also like to remind everyone to please remember to be kind to everyone during this period, during this transition. Give people the respect that you would also like to receive. Everyone is likely to feel upset, stressed out, rushed, panicked. I don't want you guys to panic, but as someone who has an anxiety problem, I also understand that that's not always in your own control. Okay, just so you guys know, a lot of you talking in meeting voice checks are not convincing me that you don't need therapy. In all seriousness, just please try your best to be respectful of everyone's feelings, and also remember that you are allowed to be upset, you are allowed to be stressed, you are allowed to be panicked. If that is how you feel, you are allowed to feel your feelings. They are valid. They are your feelings. No one gets to tell you how you get to feel. But, that said, having feelings is not an excuse to take them out on other people. Just because you're upset does not give you the license to be rude to others. So just try to remember that as we're all going forward, that everyone is likely feeling the same kind of stress, the same kind of pressure, and we can get through it much better if we work together as opposed to fighting amongst each other. I sound like an after-school special. I really have to adjust the bot on the YouTube to not post that every 5 seconds, but it was fighting me, so I gave up. So, also, staff will not be moving builds for players using their staff abilities. If a staff member offers to help you move, they're probably just doing it out of the goodness of their heart and moving your things manually, as they will be moving their own things. So, you can work together to help each other move things. It is also highly recommended that you do your very best to not make new bases too close to other players unless you're intending to build up a community together. If you wish to not have very close neighbors, you need to make sure you discuss that with anyone in a reasonable fashion. If you have nearby neighbors, it will help avoid later disputes over how far you can go and all of that if you work together. So again, cooperation is key. All right, I see a lot of people talking, a lot of people saying different kinds of questions. So we will have a homes plugin. So you will be able to set a home at a base and then set a home in your new spot, and you should be able to go between the two, I believe, ideally. However, because of the homes being wiped from the changing of the plugins, as we had mentioned many times, you will have to set a new home in your base first. So it should be easy enough for you to do that. You won't have to necessarily teleport into each map and then like travel every time, but you do have to do that initial home setting first. So there are a few other updates. So the dungeon server will not be available immediately upon the return of the server when it comes back up. There's still a little bit more work that needs to be done for the dungeon server specifically, but it will return soon. It is not gone, it is not discontinued, it's just still being worked on. If you were on the dungeon server at the shutdown, you will probably... I have absolutely no idea, actually, where you will spawn. You'll probably start on the hub. I believe that's where you will start. But, I never underestimate the capacity of things going slightly awry and someone appearing where they're not supposed to be.
So far, it's not been a case of spawning on the hub. You spawn on either the new map or the old map, but you won't spawn on where you were before. You will spawn in at whatever random location it has set.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first time I logged in after we had started some stuff, I'm pretty sure I ended up in Forest Town. Which was just hilarious to me.
It's a great spot. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is another reason why we had instructed everyone to make sure to write down their coordinates, because while we were ideally hoping that you guys would end up in the same spot, we knew we could not guarantee that. So you will still have to travel back to your homes. Unfortunately, as much as it would be something that I'd like to do, staff absolutely could not physically teleport everyone individually to each of their homes in any sense of the word. It was absolutely too far, unfortunately. Because if we did one person, we'd have to do it for everyone. And there are too many players, not enough staff members to do that, on top of the fact that staff members themselves also still have to get to their homes and take care of their things. Yeah, it would be quite a lot. That said, I will encourage those people who have things like elytras or closer homes. You could always offer, hey, I know you're close, you can teleport to me, and then, you could try working things out like that, where you can get closer. I can't think of anyone who I knew was actually near me, so I can't offer to, hey, you can just teleport to my home and walk from there. But some people are very good with the elytra flying. Some people can get to places a lot quicker. We can... Again, it's a matter of there are ways to, work together to do things. So hopefully everyone will get that done. If it makes anyone feel better, I had nothing in my inventory either, and if I remember correctly, I'm at negative 17,000. So I understand the pain. Yeah. All right. So, as I said, dungeon server won't be up right away. So, another update is, as we have discussed, the currency was changing from gold blocks. So gold blocks, ingots, nuggets will no longer be currency. Our currency will be item-based. They will be voxel coins that are set for varying amounts. I believe pictures of these have been shown off in the spoilers. That I know Amy and other people.
Set, though.
I don't think the full set. I know some of them have been shown off. Would you like to show off the full set, Esther?
Yes.
So you should show off the full set. We don't have a... Basically, they're still called voxels. I'm just using the phrase voxel coins to differentiate it. But officially, their name is still just voxels. If you check out Photo Album, you can see the whole range of them. And yes, I specifically kept mentioning a red one till she made one.
We're not going to talk about this. This is a pain in the ass.
It wasn't intended to be server colors. That's just sort of how they ended up, is the thing. There were several different versions, and at one point, I'm pretty sure Fred ripped out all of his hair. I'm pretty sure Fred is now bald, because of how many times we kept changing it. But yeah, we have fancy coins. If anyone's watching on YouTube, you can check that out in the photo album of the Discord for the pictures that we're talking about. But yeah, coins look pretty cool. And there was a degree to which we were trying to differentiate from other older currencies as well, so... Also, they're still voxels. I just used the phrase voxel coins to differentiate so you guys would understand that they're coins versus the old system of voxels. We decided to keep the name voxels because, quite honestly, nothing else sounded right, nor could we really, agree on names. Like, as an example, I liked Voxcoin, but not everybody did. Also, no one liked my suggestion of gin bucks, so... Although, technically, Esther, you designed them. They should have been Esther dollars. E-coins. I don't know. Something.
I do not approve that message.
Alright, but basically we decided to stick with voxels. So our currency is still voxels, it's just they are now coins they're now custom coins that have their own textures instead of gold blocks, ingots, and nuggets. On the plus side, this does mean technically you can sell gold now. Regular gold, like blocks and ingots, the rules used to be you could not sell gold and ingots because it was money, so you were selling money for other money. Technically, it's no longer money in that particular instance. So, yeah, you can't sell money. But since gold by itself is no longer money, you can now sell gold. I think that's the best way to explain it. So, another fun thing that I believe we've given a few little spoilers to as well is we will now have an easy-to-access menu that includes links to a lot of different sources. This is called the Adventurer menu. So the links to certain things will be found in that menu. It's really fun. The links include to things like our jobs GUI, classes, abilities. There is a friends portion of it. There's also links to our social media found in there. Easy to click. And it's going to be really fun, honestly. It is done via a command, which is written down in the announcement already. I have completely forgotten it's like /HB or something, handbook or something. It will be written down for you guys. So you'll have an easy to access command that can bring up links to a lot of the different sources, which is very fun. Don't worry, that command will be written in the announcement. Yeah, giving out some info today. Also, there is a large portion of like jobs and custom crafts will now require you to visit NPCs downtown to have items made. So a lot more interaction with downtown, and it's going to be really fun, trust me. Honestly, the only tricky part is remembering to go pick them back up, but Mira, I know you're not asking seriously. Yeah, we've been working really hard. Also, just a general reminder, we have discussed it previously, but there are changes being made to our donor ranks, technically all of our ranks. So, like, default has a new name, as well as the donor ranks. They've gotten new names, refreshed perks, and all of that. Players currently with a rank will be automatically converted to whatever the new version of said rank is. There was a linked document posted in the announcements a little whiles back, but it will also be posted in these notes as well. So there are some changes, but you will, if you already had a donor rank, you will be automatically converted to the one that's the equivalent. So, with regards to the EULA changes that had to be made, mostly what had to be removed from the ranks was the reserved login slot, because there can't be like a queue sort of requirement or a payment bypass for that. We also took it as an opportunity to remove stuff that has long since been broken and reshuffle around some of the perks a little bit. Like, as an example, /trash is now available to, like, all of the donor ranks instead of just, I think it was, like, S before. Things of that nature. Pretty much the big thing that had to be removed was just the reserved login slot. And we just decided to, as they needed a refresher, we decided that was the perfect opportunity to do so. That and our update. Perfect opportunity. Let's change it all over. Let's get it all functioning. There will be a command in game, which I believe is just /ranks, which will let you pull up rank information. I will say that with regards to the descriptions that will be on our store for those, as well as in the /ranks, some of the perks may not be functional completely just yet. Some of the things in the document, but they're intended to be functional at a later date. As an example, I know we did discuss it the last time I brought this up. The donor ranks get a custom mount, which will be a custom MC pet, I believe, but they will not be ready right away. So that will come later, but they have a lot of perks already that are functioning, and I think you guys will really enjoy them. When I said we had information today, when Amy said come ask questions, we were gonna have information today, okay? Alright, so, and as always, don't forget to keep your eyes on our Discord announcements. Get yourself the updates roll for if you want to be kept up to date on news and information, changes, etc. a lot of times people will ask questions in the Discord without checking out the announcements. Even if you don't have the role, I would say it's always worth checking out the announcements channel, because I understand not everybody likes getting pings, but you should always check there often if you want to be kept up to date with information. Whether it's about the server being back up or just general changes, general information. All right. We're going to jump into the pre-submitted questions now. And I'm going to drink some water. There is no hydrate button, but because I hadn't gotten that set up yet. But thank you, Navy, for reminding me to hydrate. It's honestly useful, okay? Alright, so we're going to jump into the, dozen pre-submitted questions. So, is new VB getting redone again? So it's going to technically be new VB. So, we've been showing off many spoilers for the new map. A lot of the pictures, like Amy's been posting, and I've been posting, and Esther's been a lot of us have just been posting pictures. It's been fun. A lot of the stuff we've shown off is downtown, the new downtown. So yes, there is a new downtown. However, the new downtown is not actually called Valeria Beach. So new VB won't work. Because it's no longer a beach. There's no longer a beach to it. You, when you guys actually get to see like the full thing, you'll definitely completely understand. The new name is Valeria Haven. And yes, I know Amy showed that off. So like just officially, like the new name is Valeria Haven. So yeah. Nice new downtown, nice new fresh start. Also, I don't know if the pictures have really given off the full, like, vibe of this, but it's also smaller. It's smaller by far than the current VB that we had. I don't know, like there's no way to really compare it to like older versions of VB, but like it's definitely a smaller experience, because one of the bigger issues that we had with the current VB is just like it was really like pretty, and it was a huge project, and had been developed for like years at least well over a year by that point, but it was very large, and it was very hard to direct people to things, as well as we just didn't quite have a lot of things to put in it at the time. So we've kind of made it smaller, much more manageable, and much more easy to explore, and there's a whole bunch to explore to it. But there's a lot to explore now with it, and highly encourage you guys to explore around. There's lore for lots of spots just in downtown, and it's fun. The entire CM team helped come up with a lot of fun details and a lot of cool things for you guys to like stumble across, and the architects made the vision of the downtown just gorgeous. I'm singing your guys' praises. Deal with it. Everyone has worked incredibly hard on this, and I'm very excited. I think you guys are going to really, truly enjoy it. Okay. What's the deets behind these races I see above staff heads in spoiler photos? So it's actually not races. This was actually a display showing a default class, which was labeled as human, not part of a race plugin. This has since been renamed to avoid such confusion going forward. Yeah, I know some people had already figured out the answer and everything, but easier to just cover it than anybody who wasn't around for discussions, because I completely understand that there's going to be a lot of times where people will look at like general chat, see 100 messages, and just not read any of them, because I don't want to either. But yes, in the photo album, Ray just posted an overview picture of Valeria Haven. It looks really sick, honestly. Just beautiful. There's not a beach. There's farmland. That might be farmland. Those aren't boats. Those are airships. Anyway, so moving on. Question. When can we anticipate the farming rework? Understandable if you can't give specifics, but a few months or longer than that, shorter than that. So, the farming rework is currently intended to release alongside a harvest event or a bit before if we're able to do so, which we would like to have within the next few months. So, ideally, what we're looking at for the farming rework is sometime in the next few months. This update obviously took precedence. But we do still intend to do the custom farming that we've kind of hinted and spoiled and talked about a little bit before. Like, we definitely want to still do the farming rework and harvest. We would like to, if we're able, have the farming rework come out a little bit before harvest, because there's certain mechanics to the new farming system that are specific just to the farming system, and then there's going to be some adjustment to mechanics for harvest specifically. So if we can do that, it's going to be hopefully a little less confusing. You'll get a little bit of time to get used to the newer mechanics, and then have the harvest ones. I'm not going to give a date on when harvest is ideally slated, only because we all know delays can happen, and I don't want to jinx anything either. Ideally, we would like to have it within the next few months. So, look, we already got to do Hallowed Harvest. Like, we don't need every event to have Harvest on it. Just because I would like that doesn't mean we have to. Okay. Question. How are we going to be able to repair items now if we all likely won't be able to... Wait, Okay, wait, hold on. Let me stop. Let me restart, because I, tried to read 4 sentences at once. How are we going to be able to repair items now if we all likely won't be able to afford to do it immediately, and tools are going to be breaking real fast? So, there are intended to be multiple ways to repair items, including the polishing stones that had been dropping as dungeon loot previously. Obviously, with the dungeon server kind of possibly taking a little bit extra time, those are not as easy to obtain. But there's also going to be a new NPC downtown at the blacksmith shop. Yes, there's a blacksmith shop, which will also sell repair consumables to use, that you can use to repair your gear and your tools. Blacksmith shop. There is a blacksmith. So, I'm going to tell you right now, Navy, it's not actually going to be as easy as slash warp blacksmith. But you shouldn't have much of a problem finding it. So there are going to basically be the ability to fast travel to different places around like the hub, but you have to discover the points to actually do that. So you would have to walk to the blacksmith shop for the first time, find it, and then you can do it again. You need to physically discover the building before you can warp there. Nah, we're not going to release like a map for you because that kind of ruins the point of exploration. But again, New VB is not like super New VB is not like super I just called it New VB again. Valeria Haven is not nearly as big as like the old New VB, so the old New VBB. That the grammar of that just bothered me. But if you guys make a map, like that's totally fine. You can make your own maps. You can share with each other. We're just not going to do it for you. Okay, so next question. How are jobs going to work? Is that what the quest teaser spoiler thing is working with? So quests are separate from jobs. They are separate from jobs. As for jobs, we have a new plugin for jobs, so they will function differently to the old jobs. Some classic jobs are being remade, like farmer, miner, fisherman, etc. We're also going to have some fun new ones, like I think the one Ray said he was most excited for that he made was beekeeper. There's a beekeeper job now. So there will be a number of, I'm not entirely sure what the actual number of the ones that will be available upon release. There are some that may be released later, but there will definitely be some very basic ones at the bare minimum, like the ones I said, like miner, fisher, farmer, etc. Doing your job. Hold on, I skipped a sentence. So there are a number of changes to how the jobs themselves will work, as this is an entirely new system. So I want you to take everything you know about how jobs worked before and throw it in the trash can. So doing your job will earn you merit, and yes, it's different than the old merit system, but it's called merit. These are points which can then be cashed out for voxel coins downtown. Essentially, you do your job and you go collect your paycheck. There also is a higher level cap. So whereas old jobs capped at 200, these now cap at 250, I believe was the number. I can see Ray typing every time I check in. So I'm sure he's unloading something on you guys. But so higher level cap. Also, unfortunately, because of limitations about the plugin, changing jobs will reset your progress entirely. So if you are a miner and you're like, I want to do fisherman, you can switch your job. You can switch to fisherman. But if you want to go back to miner, you will start over again. The reason for like the paycheck, like you have to go collect it, is also to avoid that the inventory like getting flooded with different coins. So basically, you do your job and you can cash it out. The other thing to know is like additional job slots will be available later, because we're still sorting out some details. They will also likely be quite expensive to obtain, and the slots themselves will not be tradable. You will have to earn your own. A lot of problems that we've had with a lot of systems for Vox and trying to introduce anything new is the fact that there were a lot of people with a lot of money that could just straight up skip to endgame by making other people do the work and buying it for them. You have to play the game. A lot of the systems are also like, we're limited with what we can do with plugins too. So sometimes things are the way they are because we can't edit them, and then sometimes they're set up certain ways for balancing or for making certain things deliberately more difficult. Like, I'm not gonna lie, we do sometimes make things deliberately more difficult. Job slots, like getting extra job slots, should honestly be harder than just dumping some diamonds into a book. Let's be honest. I don't believe there are requirements to join a job starting out now. Although I would say, like, if you want to be a beekeeper and you don't have any bees, you might want to do that before you join the beekeeper job. There are also going to be 2 jobs that are specifically specifically available to ranks. And those jobs are more of a cosmetic type function. Like, one of the jobs is able to craft a lot of the, or will be able to craft a lot of the custom blocks that will be available. Like a lot of the ones that you guys have seen in screenshots and such. Another one is able to craft, I believe, some degree of dungeon gear, but the gear itself is also available through other means. Like, if you actually, like, dungeon, you can still get the gear. It's not solely tied to having that job. It's just another way to be able to obtain them. So, yeah, jobs is a huge chunk of information. I think you guys are going to be really excited about it. I will also say that starting out, you're limited to 1 job. So you will have to work on job slot stuff once we have that all settled. So that is technically a later release thing, but you will have the ability to join a job, start earning money. So, question. How soon can we anticipate the archaeology rework? Like a few months, longer, sooner, etc. Right now, there is no specific timeline laid out for our archaeology rework, so stay tuned. But I will say it is very likely not going to be in the next month or 2 at minimum. Will not be within the next couple of months, more than likely. The farming rework is up first. So after the farming rework is when we might be able to come up with some sort of rough timeline to tell you guys, but I'm not going to guarantee when. All right. Next question. How soon can we anticipate the export rework? So the export rework is slated at the moment to come alongside the farming rework, as they obviously tie very closely together. So we're ideally, again, as I said with the farming one, looking at within the next couple of months. Question. Will we have sentience on the new map release? Unfortunately, the sentience are not ready quite yet. So those will not be released immediately when we are live. Again, stay tuned though. I know we have been teasing those a lot and everything. We still plan to do it. We still want to do it. It's just sometimes things like that, a matter of priority happens, such as this big update to 1.20 kind of took precedence over sentience themselves. So those unfortunately will not be ready quite right away. Also, I love that you guys love to talk, but if you're going to talk anime, take it to off topic, please, so I can make sure I'm not missing any relevant conversation in the voice text. Not that I don't also enjoy anime, but thank you. Yeah. A lot of the systems, unfortunately, just require starting over because they're brand new systems, and converting to new systems is difficult enough without trying to figure in how to, like, refund people for, like, job levels from, like, an old system to a new system. It's just, it gets very tricky, as well as just way too easy to get stuff mixed up. And it's way too easy for people to just, like, zoom to endgame content with a brand new system, and then it ends up leading us into a situation where we feel like we have to balance a system around the people who move the fastest, who have the most money, when we should be balancing around, like, the average player who's going to play the system. You know, the way they're supposed to. I'm not bashing people who had money, by the way, because there was a lot of times where I would just buy materials for things myself. Like, I was one of these people, too. I had the money, and I don't like PvE stuff, so I would just buy it. That said, that's not to say there aren't going to be things where you can buy from each other. We're doing job crafts and things like that. You're going to need to work together again to form things, because you will not be able to have every single job. People will have to work together to get things, so... Buying things is not cheating. It was just skipping steps. Also, apparently, I was not considered rich. I thought I was. So, it's fine. Alright. Moving on. How long is old map gonna stay open? I know as long as we can keep it, but is there any idea on the time frame? So, here's the question. A lot of people are not going to be happy when they hear my answer. Realistically, it is going to be less than a month. Like, I think I said this earlier, but just in case anyone's tuning in now. Ideally, as long as we possibly can, as you said, but we will keep you updated when we do have a specific date as soon as we can. That said, please, please move your things as quickly as you can once it's open. Find your spot to settle. Move your things over with as little delay as you can. There is no need to panic, but speed will be your friend in this situation. Ideally, at least 2 weeks. Ideally, as long as we can. However, realistically and financially and with server resource concerns, it's most likely going to be less than a month. So, I wanted to give you as close to a timeline as I could with that, but alright, I have no idea what voice text is anymore. You guys have just gone off the rails. Alright. Will Resource World be available immediately? I'm just not going to bother reading the rest of the question because it's mostly personal details. So, Resource World will not be available during the map move. Having multiple maps up at once is very hard on the server resources, and the two netherite maps, the old one that we had and now the new one that will be up, are difficult enough as they are to maintain. The old map is more intensive than the resource world itself, and has been giving us problems this entire time. So that makes it much more difficult to have both of those maps up at the same time, and adding resource map in would make it just straight up, it will not work the way that it would need to. So the resource map will not be available when we bring the server back up. However, we will be able to bring Resource World back. We do intend to bring it back once the map move itself is concluded and the old world is removed. I will not guarantee that it will be immediately available when the old map goes away, but we would be able to do it shortly thereafter. Yeah, Burb, you can open the questions channel. At least get them started to get in, and then we can, while I'm still answering stuff. Yeah. Alright. Question. Will there be player-owned shops again, or something similar? So we would like to bring back something similar to the server, but as of yet, that is still technically a to-be-determined project. It has not been our main focus. It is something, at least I personally would like to see, and I know we have had some ideas on how to do that, but it really requires finding a plugin that either has a function for it or a plugin that that's its sole function. So we kind of have to play around with what we can do physically and what's available to us to do things of that nature. Don't forget to post the format for the meeting questions. But yeah, so we would like to do player shops again, just not entirely sure how it's going to be done or at what point we can do it. We'll get to it though, hopefully. And the last pre-submitted question. How is the supply/demand going to work in the economy, and just the economy in general? I'm hearing people say no NPCs, but then I thought there were going to be NPCs or something of the sorts that drives the prices for the supply-demand pricing. So, to clarify, to clear up everything, because I believe the confusion has happened because we've had various different things going back and forth as to what was working and what was not. I believe that's where the confusion happened. So there will be an economy shop NPC. This NPC will take in raw materials for money as well as sell things. When the server goes live, this will work, but I will also warn you guys that the both the stock, what is sellable, what is able to be bought, all of that is subject to further adjustments as we go. A lot of it is not 100% has been fully configured yet. So there may be things that you're able to sell that may be removed later, and there may be things that you can't sell, and that is intentional. When we're talking about raw resources, as an example, I believe what has been specifically said is things like logs will be sellable, but planks likely will not be. So the raw material, the raw resource. There have been a lot of different back and forth as to what it would be able to do, what we would be selling, and all of that. So yes, that was my mother warming up her coffee in the microwave. So I think the confusion on whether it was NPCs or not, was just basically based on the lack of fully developed information, which is part of why we try not to give you guys half information, although there is a balance, because a lot of people would much rather hear, hey, we're working on this might be how it is, versus this is how it is. So I know there's a balance there that we kind of have to continually just work on. But if you are ever like confused as to what's happening, or if you're hearing different reports of like, oh, this is how it's going to work, but then someone else says something that's completely contradictory, you can always ask a staff member, or you can ask in these meetings, and we can help hopefully clarify for you. So, all right. So that was the end of the pre-submitted questions. I'm going to take a 2-minute break because I really need to use the restroom. So go ahead, get any questions that you have. So go ahead and get in questions while you have it, and I will be right back. Sorry. Okay, I have returned. Thank you guys for your patience.
I'll take the garbage out tomorrow.
Okay, so I am back. Thank you guys for your patience. Also, just in general, a big props to Esther and Burb, because they take notes while I talk, and they're taking notes, and I love them. And we should all appreciate the work that they do for these meetings too, because it is technically behind the scenes, and they need props, because if they didn't do that work, it would take forever to get meeting notes up. I would probably give up.
The only reply you'll get from that is thanks. So awkward.
Look, you guys work hard. There's like a perception that I do like everything in the community meeting, and I just like, it's not actually true. Anyway, so I'm gonna jump in to the questions. So will the new map generation have particularly fanciful biomes like Terralith, or is all of it fairly realistic? Well, that's providing it works. The biomes are different than Terraliths. I would say, honestly, I think they are, like, personally slightly more, like, realistic in look, but I know Jin was also doing a degree of customization on some of them, so honestly, I actually haven't seen
really
all of them.
undetermined at the moment.
So it's a little bit kind of like up in...
And saying that, the world gen that we were testing out last week, I think it was,
Oh,
we were
God.
just messing around with lots of blocks. We are looking at putting all of those, well, not all of them, but you know, a good majority of them into Adventure World or Resource World when it comes out. So there will absolutely be opportunities for some very interesting biomes.
Yeah. Map generation has just I would just take a second to, like, right here. Like, map generation has been a pain this entire time. It is the thing that has absolutely taken the longest, because we've had to try it over and over and over again, because we kept getting very weird results or very bland results in one version of it. Things broke to the degree that Woodland Mansions generated completely upside down. Or were completely broken. If they generated at all, they were upside down. Completely upside down. Oh, yeah. The map generation has just... between the computer problems Jin had and then the map generation issues has been why things kept getting extended. Yeah. I think the hope was that those problems are fixed. But if you find a Woodland Mansion, I absolutely encourage you, tear it down and build it back upside down. Have fun with it. So, I'm gonna move on now. Let me, where's the... Oh, that one was... Yep. Hamster. Okay, question. How is the staff doing with all of the changes? I know it's a lot of stress on staff. How is staff managing with all the stress and everything? We care for y'all. So, first of all, usually we tell people, like, we love the sentiment, don't overload us with questions about it in the meetings, but also everyone knows that we've been very stressed and very busy, so I still really appreciate the ask. Most of it overall, I think, is coping. We're all coping. A lot of us are very tired. And we're also trying to put out what we can in the most functional form possible. We're taking breaks, periodically making sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Not all of us are as good at that as other people. Some of us will definitely need a break for a few days here and there afterwards, because some of us are workaholics and don't know when to stop. I'm not pointing any fingers. They know who they are. I may be one of them. Oh, and upside down dungeon's a really cool idea. Anyway, so overall, staff is coping. It has been a lot to try to get done and sort out, and we do have incredibly limited hands. We've had a few people kind of chipping in here and there, even if it's not what they typically do, to make sure that we've had what we needed available. The person who's absolutely busted their butt the hardest has been Jin and the GMs. Definitely. But yeah, coping, stressed, coping. Hopefully once we have everything up tomorrow, some of that will go away. I will also state that, like, there is a degree to which things may not be 100% like fully stable. Things may need adjustments, and there will likely still be things like occasional restarts. We're hoping there won't be crashes, but I can't guarantee there won't be crashes. So basically expect live maintenance on things and systems. Basically the idea for when the map comes back up tomorrow is that we will have a lot of stuff functional, but not everything will be, and you will just have to wait for that. But it is basically the best balance for like not having the server down for too much longer and to the point where we can't afford it anymore, as well as like having some degree of which you can play and things like that. Ideally, you should still have everything that you need to get started, moving your things and all of that. So like that should be fine, but there will still be stuff being adjusted. Also, I know there are some of you who play the numbers game of like the minute you try something new, like jobs, you try to figure out all the numbers for everything, for blocks, for experience, for all of that jazz. Some of that stuff may be subject to change as we go. So don't get super attached to certain like ideas of what earns what points, because they might get adjusted, because we can only do so much with staff testing. So essentially you guys will be doing copper again, where you're kind of live testing some stuff too. Yeah. Okay. I'm not like saying we'll change job stuff to spite anybody. I'm not saying that, yeah. But there's a lot of times where we set certain, like, as an example, setting like levels of like what earn, like what block, like if you're minor, what blocks earn you what points and all of that. There's only so much testing we can do, and some of you guys are crazy when it comes to leveling, and sometimes we have to adjust things based on what we see, you know. So there is a degree to which live testing is required, and yeah. Oh, yeah, passionate is really the better term for it. Okay, so question. Can we get a return on some old items like Dwarven Pickaxe, Master Sword, Soul Edge, etc.? These items were very much part of my Vox upbringing, maybe a trader in the future or special loot. I can't say for sure that we won't ever bring back, like, possibly refreshed versions of certain items. There are a couple things that, like, are currently, like, disabled on the e-store that were still on there. Like, the Woodman's Axe would probably be something we could make a new version of, as an example. I'm not sure that all of those kinds of things would make a return, but we could do refreshed versions of them. Things like the Dwarven Pickaxe was just a nice high efficiency pick. Like that wouldn't necessarily be that impossible. The Master Sword and Soul Edge, I'm only not sure about because of like copyright type of stuff. Yeah, we have a lot of like referential stuff, so I'm like less worried about it, but still like doing new versions of things like that, we would have to be careful. We can't bring back the old versions of them because they won't work, because a lot of those things were socket based. But like doing revisions of certain things could be something we can do. There's a lot of which we are trying to focus more on like new content, but there's also a balance where like we can still use similar things and similar names and have it be essentially like a new version of it. But things that were like purchasable on the store, like the Woodsman's Axe and stuff, if we came up with a new version, I'm not sure we would allow trade-ins, because a lot of people might want that, but I'm not sure if we would. So it's definitely a balancing act. I won't say never, but it's not necessarily something we're hyper focused on either. But we could make newer versions of some of those things or similar items as well. So Sorry, I'm pausing for a sec. I go fast, so I'm trying to make sure I pause frequently enough to both hydrate and also not go too fast. Question. Will there be a global player / market? So, like, I assume you're talking about, like, auction house. I'm also going to roll in the next question because it's also about GM, like the global market. I don't know, honestly. Like, I do not know if we are going to have a global market thing. I think we would like to, but I'm not sure the old plugin was working, if I remember correctly. And by the old plugin, I mean the one we were using when the server went down. I don't know if it was updated to 1.20. And that is a problem we've run into a couple of times. So, like, ideally, we would love to have a global market of some sort for players. I'm just not sure what it will be. And with regards to the command itself being easier to remember, I don't know how much more simple we could do than /market, because that's what the old one was, Harley. I'm pretty sure. But we do try to make sure that the commands aren't too difficult in general. A lot of commands for a lot of the plugins actually is more stuff like you do a / and then the plugin name and then like the specific thing, and a lot of times we do come up with like aliases for those so that it's a much simpler command for you guys. So we always do try to configure that if we're able to. Yeah, so basically just, we would like to have, oh, okay, it was Market GUI. To be fair, I will be completely honest, I did not use it very frequently myself, but we do try to make it as simple as we can. But yeah, like as an example, like yeah, literally put, like sometimes the plugins commands literally look like that. Like / global market, / global market, space GUIs, player name. Like, some of them are very complicated. Okay, I say GUI instead of GUI because I don't know why. Anyway, but yeah, so we definitely would like to bring back like a market plugin, and if we can have something like that, we'll try to make sure that the command's easy enough to remember. But sometimes we are limited on what's able to be done. Sometimes we aren't able to force it with a different command. I don't entirely understand everything that's involved in like creating that like alias command that lets you do certain things, but sometimes some of the plugins are just annoying and stubborn. Let's just put it that way. All right. Question. Can we expect to see different / new kinds of rolling messages on the server, similar to the rolling lands guide? So, fun fact, that's actually the task I've been working on. So we do intend to have basically like rolling messages that will pop up periodically in chat. They're actually called tips now in the plugin that we're using for it. So they'll actually say like tip and then like some information at the end of it. As for like whether or not we'll actually have different guides like the land guides, that remains to be seen. I am not putting Jordy through making another 18-page plugin related guide so soon. And also the only reason that guide was that long was it was very much, it had a lot of pictures in it, so it was very image heavy, and that was specifically because lands was very GUI or GUI, whatever, intensive, so it was easier to show what to do with pictures than to just tell people to do it. Yeah, Ray put an example of how the tips look That one may or may not be accurate. But I've been working on various different informations. I actually think a couple days ago, I think I asked people if there was anything in particular, things that they wanted to see. So I've tried to include some like basic commands and things like that in those. We can also put in, they're actually fairly customizable. So I'm looking forward to it. And as we get like, with what I've been able to put into it already, I think they're going to be really interesting, but we can also add to it. So like if certain things come up more frequently, like if people are very confused on certain subjects, or if it's like because it ends up being almost like an FAQ. So like if people are asking certain questions over and over and over again, especially if we have new people who are confused, we can easily like add another into it. So that'll be actually really fun to work on. I cannot guarantee that all of them will be available or correct right away. I tried to remove all the ones that aren't accurate, but I can't guarantee that we'll have a whole host of them right away, just because it is something that's going to probably get added as we go. But yeah, it's been very fun to play with that plugin because it actually worked. Actually, I had, I'll be completely honest with you guys, I had a moment where I was really stupid and it wouldn't work. I broke it for a minute and then I fixed it. Oh, man. Anyway. All right. But yeah, official, like, larger guides might still be something that we do. However, if we were to do things that are, like, more text intensive, like larger than, like, a typical chat message, I would probably prefer, personally, to, like, put them on the website and then have, like, the tips giving you a link maybe to it, something of that nature. We could probably do stuff like that, but I'm not sure exactly everything that we may want or need a guide for. And again, they also still take time to write, so likely those won't be available right away for certain things, but if there are subjects that people get very confused about, we can easily work on those as well. So, all right. There is also, yes, as Burb said, like, if you want to take it upon yourself to write up a guide, there's nothing wrong with that if you have information. Because typically when we give guides, we don't give staff-sided information that you wouldn't have access to anyway. So there's no problem with you guys writing a guide. And I'm not sure if I would necessarily put them in game like tips, but we could easily, you know, if you post them to Discord, we could pin them or things of that nature. You know, we can definitely use each other as resources too. So, all right. Is it safe to say the map will be up tomorrow evening, non-specific time, or is tomorrow just the answer for now? Bad memory, can't remember if you said this in the beginning. Okay, so for now, a time will not specifically be confirmed, as that still kind of depends on a number of different factors. It is safe to say tomorrow evening at as a time. Tomorrow evening as a date. The time specific itself is subject to fluctuation, so we're not going to set a specific time. Basically, it is coming up tomorrow. Just not sure exactly when. And this, of course, is in Eastern Standard Time, or whatever the EDT stands for. So EST or EDT, whichever one you prefer. I know they're the same thing. I just don't know what the acronym means. So yeah, because not everyone, but a lot of people on the staff team are either East Coast US or US based. So when we talk time, we are usually talking US based. I can't keep track of it. I want them to just move everything a half an hour either way and stop making me switch my clock back and forth. Alright. Next, I keep having to scroll up. Next question.
Kaiser,
Yeah?
I will just get Ray to answer this one when you're done reading it out.
Yeah, no problem. Question. Any details on how or if gear customization will return? Details. Will gear be dropped as is, or is it up to RNG, or will something similar to orbs and sockets to change attributes be introduced?
Go, Ray.
Okay, sorry. I was muted.
You're fine.
So we have plans to bring back a socket-like system, which will be custom enchants that you can put on your gear, as well as ways to add stats for your classes onto gear. That is still a heavy work in progress and a future thing. For now, the gear that's been dropping, if you've been running dungeons and mob arenas and stuff like that, is the gear that you should expect going forward to see, where it's locked by your class and all that other fun stuff.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That was a much faster thing than me stumbling around for an answer while Ray typed. But yeah, cool. Thank you, Ray. So, where was I? I lost my place. Okay. Question. What can we expect with the new lands management plugin? Just curious how expensive it is to start/maintain. Are clans allowed outposts? I know before a lot of players liked being in towns to keep their stuff, grief, looting safe even when they go inactive. So, I'm just going to say don't panic about my answer because I realize it sounds weird for me to say this when we said we're releasing tomorrow, but technically this is still kind of actually up in the air at the moment. We are trying to finalize the details. After running into some quality of life issues with the plugin, we will release more details on what it will actually be once we have the concrete answer. I will say that you will likely not have access to anything like outposts right away, though. It's very similar to how we did on the last map update. We do want to still have outposts if it's possible, which it should be, but still kind of up in the air a little bit. But we also don't. Last time, it was also a concern that people would just go, start a town in one spot, and then outpost 14 different spots all over the map or more, which is also something we don't necessarily want to have happen while people are still getting settled and into a place. Yeah, TLDR is what Ray said in voice text, is that it broke and it's very bad and it had a lot of issues, and basically was set up as a per block, not per chunk claiming thing, and also claims air blocks instead of it was
it's horrendous.
It's a mess, and we're trying to sort out what option is going to be used. Essentially, we want to have a town management system. It's just not going to be clans. So we don't have the answer as to which one it is yet. And you joke, PK. But one of our first thoughts was like, could we bring back Townie? Honestly. Just straight up honest. Like, that was like the first words out of some of our mouth. We do intend to have one, if we can, available right at the beginning, though. Because we understand that it is a very vital part of protecting your things and claiming spots and stuff like that. However, if we either don't have one, people are still subject to the no loot and griefing rules. We still have lock. You will still be able to like lock your chests and things of that nature at bare minimum. So I don't want people to like panic. I absolutely don't want people to panic. There are ways to protect your stuff, even if it takes a day or two extra to get a land claiming type plugin functional for us. It's just clans literally did not work the way that it was supposed to, or the way that we thought it would. And yeah. Look, I will panic enough for all of us, okay? I will handle the panic, trust me. I have enough anxiety for everyone. But yeah, it's just yeah. Essentially that is basically it's just, this is what we mean when we say like development sometimes goes very awry. So yeah. There will be ways to protect your stuff, even if the land claim thing is not available right away. That would be our like number one priority to get going after we launch if we don't have it. Okay, so I don't want anybody to panic. And again, the systems that are in place are rules of no griefing and no looting, which means if someone does that to you, you ticket and staff can handle it. If you want to mark out an area that you plan to claim, I recommend maybe some fences periodically. I recommend signs with your name on it and locked chests. A random like dirt tower or random pillar does not denote enough of a claim, but if you combine like a small house and a sign that says your name on it and fences, like all together, that would still make a valid claim. So I don't want you to worry too heavily about your stuff. Locks exist. You can lock your stuff. Breathe. Everybody breathe. Alright, so moving on. Question. Will the Voxbox art be available to the public by either putting them on the website or in Discord so people may have them as a PC or a cell phone background? I assume you mean like the card art and not like the like pictures that go up on the website. So I assume you mean the card art. For now, I'm gonna like, I mean honestly, it really couldn't be made publicly available due to a lot of things, including copyright. That said, like, though we have like officially discontinued the Voxbox, it's something that we would potentially still like to like re-release the old boxes or like do crates or something, as well as like fix the card art that does exist. That is in the plans. It's just not a immediate priority. But we can't really like make the art itself available for people to use in that capacity. It's just most of the art that was made with cards was actually paid work, so that wouldn't be something that we'd be able to do. All right. Question. Wait, hold on. That was that one. Let me mark that up. Question. Will there be a new Discord chat log like Netherite server chat? So, we'd like to, and it will probably still be there. It's just, we had some problems with the bot that does that, and also with the server off, there's nothing to log. So, ideally, yes, we would have the Discord server chat still. It's just not hooked up at the moment, properly. Okay. Question. Is there going to be a way to protect our builds / chests? Like if someone was gone for 30 plus days, no one will be able to claim it. So there absolutely will be ways to protect your things. We are kind of still working on finalizing details for how we would like to possibly do land claiming situations. But you will still have the ability to lock your chests, your doors, etc. Grief and looting are still against our server rules and are ticketable offenses. As for like actual like land claiming situations, most of they used to be done when court was around. What had been done since then via staff was mostly just for expansion purposes or trespassing cases where someone is too close to another player. Or preventing them from like expanding outwards and those sorts of situations. We are still kind of deciding how we want to handle some of those going forward, but there will likely be some sort of rules set up for that if we do decide to allow it. But you can still protect your stuff if you're going to be gone for an extended period of time with lock and the like. Okay. Question. What's the skills plugin called? Believe we landed on using Adapt was the name, right? Yeah, Adapt.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that Jin mentioned it before, yeah. My brain, there's been too many different names floating around today. Apparently it's pretty cool. It's going to be It is a skills plugin similar to how like MCMMO or Aurelium worked. It's not like the classes and the skills are still, those are two different systems. So Adapt is the new skills plugin, and you can like level up different abilities and things of that nature. I'm trying to remember what we decided to call them. I have them written down somewhere. But yeah, it's definitely looking like it's going to be really fun to play with, and I think you guys are going to enjoy seeing how fast you can break it. Abilities. Thank you, Fred. Oh. Okay. So question, is there an ETA for archaeology update? Will there be fossils of some kind mentioned sorry. Is there an ETA for archaeology update? Will there be fossils of some kind when server goes live in the meantime before the rework? It was mentioned that it would probably be after farming if done in the future and overall months away. So, unfortunately, that is the answer that I have for you, the one that I gave earlier that you referenced, that it will be a few months, if not longer, in the future. After this massive chunk of an update, the team needs a little bit of a break from development work. We need to let things kind of settle. We need to let everybody learn all of the new systems. We have a lot of stuff for you guys to learn, to play with, and explore. So I'm very much like, I think you guys are going to be straight up. I don't think I think as much as information as we can give you guys, I don't think you're fully prepared for how much fun you're going to have and how much there is for you to learn and explore. It is intended that we will start an archaeology update, and it will hopefully be a little bit after the farming rework. Now, what I will say is about Fred and Ray particularly, when they sit down and like start plotting out like a rework and stuff, like they write pages and pages, and they're so quickly I can't keep up with it. I love it. It's beautiful. So I imagine that it will not hopefully take too long to do an archaeology update afterwards, but it is just going to be a few months at minimum at this point.
That, along with any custom textures and models that get added along the way.
The artist team then already has to work on those too.
Oh, my list is, it hurts.
It's ever growing.
It's over 400 currently. It's, yeah. It's a lot to do.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Ray and Fred are gonna have to get forced to take a break, but they need a break. It's been a lot.
Oh my goodness, they don't get a choice.
So
you plan the list that you have is not the full list either.
Yeah, you don't even have the full list, and it's a list. Oh yeah, there's a lot that's been going on, a lot that's going into everything, and just sometimes we just don't have timelines for things realistically yet. But yeah, farming's up first, then archaeology. I'm not sure if the like 1.20 stuff will generate in the overworld or not because of it being custom biomes and stuff. So 1.20 is like archaeology stuff might be available, it might not. I can't actually know because I don't think we actually checked. Custom biomes tends to make a lot of normal natural things not always as available. It's just purely how it works. Yeah. So we'll have to see if it does work or not. Okay. Question. For jobs, will there be special armors/tools we can craft to help level up those jobs? Specific tiers to them? ? Similar to old jobs armor in job shops. So the answer for this is probably not immediately. It can definitely be looked into in the future. I do recall that we had discussed wanting to do something similar to Jobs Armor in the future, but it's definitely not a high priority. Or at least not at the moment. Okay. Question. Once things are settled and the key updates are done, has there been talks of Karn and doubloons making a return and possibly the return of Curios? So, Karn is in need of a rework, but currently he is intended to return in the future. We do have some ideas on how to utilize him. I'm not sure if doubloons will remain his currency or not. We'll have to see, because it's one of the problems also that we've run into with a lot of things is that we had so many different currencies. We've touched on this before too. We had so many different currencies that it might be easier to cycle some of them out and down. So doubloons itself might not stay, not sure. It is literally completely up for debate at the moment. But Karn himself is intended to make a return. And he will have, stuff to purchase. Just not entirely sure what at the moment. As for the Curios, I'm assuming you're probably referring to the ones that would come around in the, what was called the Gypsy event. That event was mostly a money sink. But they had a lot of fun items in it. We have talked about doing that event at kind of event in the future before. We have mentioned it before. In that particular actual form, we would not be calling it that anymore, as the name itself is somewhat problematic, so we would likely be renaming it. But the thing of Curios as collectibles and such could definitely still exist. It's just not really a high priority at this moment. Especially because with it being a money sink, nobody has any money anymore. A lot of the stuff in it, though, was mostly cosmetic to a degree. So we could even bring it back in that kind of form. Maybe have some of the custom blocks or custom furniture. Maybe a good way to get rid of some of your old currencies. I don't know. We'll see. That's just a off the top of my head idea, but basically, yeah, we not against the idea, not a high priority. So, okay, those are all separate questions. Okay, question: when is the Vox Pass going to be released so can join the membership system, or however it's called? So, okay, so the Vox Pass is intended to be somewhat soon. We still need to do some setting up for it. So, to explain the rough idea to people, it's kind of similar to how a lot of places have battle passes. We want to have custom cosmetic things that you get possibly weekly when you have this subscription. It will never be a situation where it's pay to win. That is something we try very, very hard to work on. But it will be a subscription fee of a small thing, kind of like the Copper Access Pass, which was kind of a good trial run for this kind of thing. Because a consistent little subscription every so often is a lot, helps a lot, and you would get custom items from it, likely still going to be, again, cosmetics, because we can't have it be pay to win. It would just be too much. There's also a lot of ideas on what we could do with this Vox Pass thing, so we'll definitely try to keep you up to date when we have more ideas on what all is going to be in it. But we had to finish this update first, like, absolutely. So. Okay. Basically, the short answer is it's still being set up. We do still intend to do it. So. Question. Not sure if it was mentioned, but is there plans for Summoner subclass of Mage? It's something we can look into, and I do believe it's been an idea that's been thrown around, but as of right this moment, we don't have any details on it, so I will say that you would have to unfortunately wait. Oh, Fred is answering my question. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So actually, apparently, Summoner is going to be a completely separate class that's coming in the future. Again, it is going to be something that you'll have to wait for. But it's not going to be a subclass. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Question. For jobs, is there max merit you can have at one time before needing to go get your paycheck? Details similar to jobs limit. As far as I know at this moment, currently there is none. We could likely add one if it was needed, though. As far as I am aware. A lot of the things that have changed with the jobs were literally because plugins do different things. So, and I think the jobs, I don't know if the jobs point was like a custom addition onto our old jobs plugin. That plugin was held together with Band-Aids and hope by that point. Honestly. Question. Question. Is LWC one of the plugins that made it usable and kept through the update? So, as far as I know, it should work. I actually tested it myself at one point. LWC, for those who are unsure, is our lock plugin. So, /lock is also known as LWC. Should still work just the same as before. So, no issues there. Okay. Question. Will there be Sniffer? No idea, technically. It should be technically available because it is a 1.20 thing, but as I explained before, custom biomes, custom terrain generation interferes sometimes with vanilla generation plugins, vanilla generation mechanics. So it may be even rarer than normal to find them. It may not be possible right away either. We kind of have to wait and see. With certain things of that nature, it is possible that if it turns out we can't find any via vanilla means, that we wouldn't necessarily keep them completely gated forever. We could likely release them in various other ways to be gotten. So if we don't have them immediately available, don't panic. There should still we should still be capable of granting you guys sniffers in some way, shape, or form if you really want them. I personally think they're ugly. But, so I don't want one. But for those people that do, we should be able to handle that. Okay. Okay, that one was already answered. With there being a new Valeria Haven, it's actually just called Valeria Haven, but with there being a new downtown, are there any traders brought over with the same trades before, such as trades for gold blocks? There are similar named traders, and any that had trades like that with like gold blocks are either being reworked, already fixed, or removed entirely because gold is no longer the currency. So basically, no. There won't be trades available for gold blocks in the new downtown, as again, it's no longer the currency. For the moment, as I said, like the traders are either already reworked or being reworked. So if there is a trader that isn't there and then you notice we bring them back at some point, that may happen. Like we may reuse traders and certain names and things of that nature. But we will not be having trades for gold blocks because it is not the currency. You don't have to destroy the admins just because I don't like sniffers. Yeah, I'm the only one who said I don't like sniffers. I'm sorry, but their nose is like huge and weird and their oversized body, it just weirds me out. Also, I literally haven't liked most of the mobs that have been up for mob vote for a while, so... I don't like allays either. Personally, I think they need to bring back mobs from the mob votes that didn't win and just give them another chance again. Like, I don't understand why they're like, oh, you'll never see these ones again. It's like, you spent all your time coming up with these concepts. Why don't you want to just put them in the game later? Anyway, does anyone have any more questions? Please put them in the meeting questions channel. If there's no typing in like the next 5 minutes, I'm gonna just end the meeting because I have been talking for a while now.
Or forever hold your peace. Until next community meeting, please.
I do understand that like slow mode is on for some people, so please don't ask. I'm sorry, Harley, I love you, but like please don't ask that kind of question. We need to make sure these questions stay focused to Vox related content, please. Why don't I like LAs? They look just like Vexes and I can't stand the Vexes either. They're annoying and tiny and I don't understand their point. But, okay, to be fair, like, I like how dogs look in the game. I don't usually tame dogs because they always teleport to me at, like, the weirdest times. Like, I don't like keeping, like, pets that actually follow me and do stuff because they get in my way. So that's just a personal preference, really. And I didn't say allays are bad. I didn't say sniffers are bad. I said I don't like them. You can still like them. In fact, think about it this way. More for you. You don't have to fight me for one. Right? Right. That's a really good question. I see someone typing in the meeting questions channel, so I'm thinking on that, Case Hour, because I don't actually know. Probably the Ender Dragon, to be honest. Okay. Question. Will there still be job abilities like Tree Feller and Power Miner, etc.? I believe those types of things will fall under the new abilities thing. I don't know if those exact ones will exist, but I believe they will fall under the new, like, adaptation ability things. I see Fred typing, though, so I'm gonna wait for a second. Okay, so, yes, I was, so abilities have special mechanics called adaptations that can be unlocked by leveling the ability. These adaptations include things similar to, like, Tree Feller and Vein Miner and stuff of that nature. So, essentially, those type of abilities aren't under jobs, they are under the adaptation / abilities, of that particular plugin. Alright. I haven't seen anybody else type. So I'm gonna close the meeting questions channel. Because we've been going a while. And my voice does not like it anymore. Alright, so I hope everyone got hopefully a lot of the answers that you were after today. Very much looking forward to having the map back up and getting you guys on there and letting you guys see all of the fun stuff we have there with the jobs, the abilities, and all of that nature. Something else that I want to mention, that actually occurred to me earlier to mention, but then nobody brought up class stuff. Or, well, not the... whatever. I just thought... class, as we mentioned before the server had been taken down in several instances, the class progress will be reset. It has been reset. Likely that shouldn't happen for a while again. But we did need to reset it when moving to 1.20, so we had told people that class progress was going to be reset. So that has been done, and also, alongside tomorrow, hopefully you guys will be excited, we're going to have a couple things on the eStore. Just going to do a little plug for that. We're going to have some fun stuff coming to the eStore soon as well. Not saying that anybody has to spend any money, but if you are interested in helping support the server, we're going to have a number of smaller types of packages that you guys will be able to purchase and have fun with. So, hopefully you guys will enjoy all of that. And I hope everyone is looking forward to all of this. I realize it's a lot and it's stressful to do a map move. It is... if we didn't have to, we probably wouldn't have done it so soon. Like, we've said that. But we're moving forward. We're doing this, and we're doing it together. We're all in the same boat, and I'm glad that you guys are here and helping support Vox and us. So, with all of that said, thank you guys for coming to the community meeting. As always, this meeting was streamed to the YouTube, so if you've missed parts of it, you can go refer back to the video, which should be up a little bit after the meeting concludes. The notes will be available as soon as I can make them, but hopefully either tonight or tomorrow morning. That would be my ideal. If you have any suggestions that you'd like to make for Vox content in any form, any shape or form, please don't hesitate to post a suggestion either on the Reddit or in the suggestion forum on the Discord. If you are interested in helping out in a capacity as any sort of staff member, please also feel free to put in a staff application either on the Reddit or on the staff applications forum in the Discord. There are templates for all of the ranks as well as descriptions. Please absolutely feel free to apply if you have any interest at all and any skills you think would be useful. Pretty much always in need of anyone with any plugin experience for GM, but you can apply for absolutely any role that you think interests you. You can also apply for more than one at a time. We just will not bring you on for more than one at a time. And thank you guys for coming to the meeting, and I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. And YouTube, for anyone watching, here's your goodbye. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I hope you enjoyed the fun little picture that's been camera here the whole time. I hope you enjoy seeing the little hints of downtown, and you guys have a wonderful evening.